These are 10 creepiest encounters ever shared on Joe Rogan Podcast. Episode number 2033, Joe Rogan Experience with Matt Rife. A chilling talk about exploring the Conjuring House and the world's most haunted places.
Are you a big ghost guy?
I believe it's possible.
I'm obsessed.
Are you?
So really weird side hobby of mine, I go ghost hunting. I've been like around the world.
Wow.
Yeah. It's incredible.
What have you experienced? Have you ever had like an absolute moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm in the presence of a poltergeist?
Still not 1,000%. I've definitely witnessed things that I cannot for the life of me explain that have creeped me out. The timing has been impeccable. I've seen things move that there's just no fucking way that they've moved. I've gotten answers back on EVPs, but for me, it is one of those things I do need to see it.
Isn't an EVP like a radio though?
No, EVP is just a recorder.
It's a recorder. What's that radio thing? I'm sorry then. What is the one where they like listen?
There's
like,
a bunch of different
daughter,
names.
My daughter's heavily into this shit.
What does she watch?
Heavily. Sam and Colby.
You had them on, right?
Yes.
So
Great guys.
So I met these other guys. There's another channel called the Overnight Channel who are equally as popular as Sam and Colby, and they actually used to work together. And I believe they split off and each do their own thing. But that's who I started going with. So I'm very familiar with those guys.
So these kids, the Sam and Colby guys just went into the Conjuring House.
I was just there maybe a month and a half ago.
You went into the Conjuring House
by
too?
myself, Joe.
Okay. Do you believe that there's something going on in that house? The Conjuring movies are fucking great.
It's my favorite franchise.
They're fun. And there's so many of them. They really did it right. Like, if you want to be smart, they branched off with The Nun. They branched off with Annabelle.
And I love the way they tie in the story for each one to make it all one chronological story. It's genius.
Yeah.
I will say I wasn't as scared as I've been in a lot of places we've been. There is some kind of solace to the house. But you get to know the history of it, and it does make sense that there would be something here. I mean, it's on some ley lines of water underground. There was wars fought there. There's apparently bodies buried on the property in the walls of the property structures and stuff. There's a lot of history that goes into it that just makes for kind of the perfect storm for some creepy shit. But I didn't witness anything that was that insane. Some items moved. Some cars rolled off of the children's dressers a couple of times on cue. And that's the one thing I do pride ourselves in these videos is so often we get absolutely nothing because we don't fake anything. So you only get to see the highlights. Like, there's so many times we'll go to a place that is so notoriously haunted and we'll be there for 10 hours and get absolutely nothing. And it sucks. But that makes when something does happen that much more valuable. It's so much more impressive.
What do you think? So do you think a ghost is like the soul of a person that's left behind? Or do you think the ghost is almost like space and time because of a horrible incident contain a memory? And like that memory is almost like it like shows up in current time sometimes. There's a guy named Rupert Sheldrake. I forget what his field of study is, but he had this theory about things, and he believes that objects contain memories.
Can memories really cling to walls and furniture? Imagine every object around you quietly remembering.
Oh, interesting.
He's not the only one that has
inanimate
this.
objects?
Yeah, that things contain memories. And this is one of the reasons why like people kind of universally support this idea that if someone was murdered in a house, you must inform the people that are about to buy it. You have to tell them, hey, somebody got murdered in this house. Like maybe you don't want to buy this house.
Now
maybe you should think about it.
Does the potential owner have to ask that information?
It's a good question.
I'd want to know.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think they should have to inform you because there's something about someone being murdered in a spot that freaks us out. And this is my question. How you knew the conjured house was haunted, right? So you go there with this feeling and this expectation. That's what I always wonder about these things. Like how much of this isn't just imagining things. This is like the mind itself seems to have some unmeasured effect on the world.
Yeah.
I think the way you think has an unmeasured effect in terms of like this. There's energy that you put out. There's connections you make with people. They're very, very unmeasured.
And you can manifest your own perception of things for sure.
Yeah. So what my concern is like if you go into a place with a pre-existing knowledge of ghosts, like you think ghosts are here, you think ghosts are real, you have this thought in your mind that you maybe experience a ghost in this place that's haunted. You're at this elevated level of anticipation. You're probably really nervous and kind of freaked out, and your imagination starts firing up. And I'm not even saying that these people are lying or that they're seeing things that aren't there. I'm saying maybe you make things show up.
Yeah.
Maybe you see memories. Maybe you experience some horrible energy that existed in this spot 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that there's like ways you can tune into that.
I could see that being possible, but to me, that's what's so exciting about it is like you go hoping for those solidified answers. You're going hoping to witness something that you couldn't have possibly made up.
But you know why I think that, too? Is like you never see them in the daytime. Ghosts don't exist on the street.
Sometimes.
Why do ghosts fear daylight? Or is it us, only brave enough to meet them in the dark?
Yeah, but not outside.
They're never outside. That's a very good point.
That's my point, is like you're always trapped. So you're always in this like weird space. Like if you had a wolf in your house, you'd be freaked out. You'd want to get outside.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want a wolf in the it's a fucking wolf in the house.
Yeah.
Anytime you're in a contained area, your brain has this heightened sense of like being trapped and awareness and how to escape. I mean, every horror movie's the same. When you got to get to the door, right? Everybody's trying to fumble with the keys and the monster's chasing them and they get it just in time, right? That is a reoccurring theme in the human mind. If you're trapped in a fucking house with a killer or a ghost or a wolf, it's scary.
You know where that makes the most sense? We did the USS Hornet up in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And we had the whole ship to ourselves, which I was so excited about because I love military stuff. I love history. I was so excited to go there and just witness it. And they sent me by myself on basically a game of hide and seek where I had to go find them in the ship somewhere after I had to count to 100 by myself. It was the most terrifying place I've ever been because if you've never been in like the bowel of a ship, it's so unfamiliar. Like doorways don't look the same. You have to step over them and everything. There's so many pipes and everything sticking out. It's such an unfamiliar environment, especially in the dark. It's terrifying. You think I can't possibly run away from something in here. There's too many obstacles. You don't know if that's a wall or a pipe or something peeking around to like look at you. It's fucking terrifying because of exactly that. You feel so trapped.
Episode number 1922. Sam and Colby recount their first chilling paranormal encounter aboard the haunted Queen Mary.
So tell me about the Queen Mary. That's the beginning for you guys.
That's the number one origin.
And you went there to do what?
So what was really interesting is we did a lot of the abandoned stuff, but every once in a while we would do like a haunted thing because those creepy stories and, the lore of everything is really interesting, whether or not you believe in it or not. At that time, we didn't really believe in any of the ghost stuff. We're like, all right, but this is going to be a great video because everyone loves telling the stories. But we just got, I don't know what it was, but someone forwarded us something saying that for the first time in 30 years, the Queen Mary in Long Beach, which is like one of the most haunted ships, like New York Times, like top 10 most haunted places in the world.
We filmed Fear Factor there once.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
Okay.
It's a beautiful ship.
They do a comedy show there sometimes.
No way.
Didn't know
Yeah,
that
for a
either.
while they had a regular comedy night there on the Queen Mary.
Yeah, I didn't realize how like famous it was, but they have that. They have like haunted houses. They have a ton of different attractions there. But there's this one room, B340, that hadn't been open for 30 years, and allegedly they closed it down because there's multiple unexplained murders and or suicides in that room. And we're like, whoa, like, if this is the first week this is open after 30 years, this is going to be an amazing like story to tell or, video to film. And so we went in there trying to make something or like trying to get something. We obviously didn't really believe in that much. So we were like, all right, let's just see if it happens. If there's going to be a haunted location, it'll be this. We toured around, did the whole thing, weren't getting much. And we were kind of frustrated at that point because we're like, all right, this is supposed to be the cream of the crop. This is supposed to be the big wig. Like, why can't we get something to happen? And so it was 4 o'clock in the morning at this time. We've been trying for hours of just sitting in circles, like asking out.
And we didn't have any equipment at this time. This is like the first place we ever went to. So we were just like, meandering like the hallways, being like, "Is anything here?"
Yeah, like just
seeing
trying to
if
get something
anything
to
happened.
happen
Right.
on camera, and nothing was happening. And so we're like, fine, I guess let's do this. Let's just like leave. Like it's fun to tell the story. Let's just leave. And so we turn off the camera, start packing up. We start walking towards the door, and as soon as we we're about to like get out of the room, the faucet turns on like full blast for 4 seconds, and then turns back off. And we all like actually like freeze and freak out. 2 of our roommates that were there at the time like just immediately started like crying. We ran in. We were like, okay, how was that actually possible at all? Maybe that's a sign of like it doesn't want to be filmed and it doesn't want us to leave. So maybe let's just not film this and try one more time just for the heck of it. And so that's what we did. But this time it worked. And to like the weirdest extent, we just like put away all of our cameras. We sat in the most serious tone saying like, okay guys, like before this didn't really believe, so like if this is happening, let's have something happen. And so we all sit in the dark together and we start calling out questions. And we're like, okay, like, is there anybody here? And we hear a knock. And so we're like, okay, maybe that's something.
Very faint though. It was like a tap.
Like a tap. And so we're like, okay, let's just run with that. Can you tap more than once? And there was like 3 taps. We're like, okay, this is really weird. Like, can we start asking questions?
And how loud are you saying this? Like, is it possible that someone could have heard you from another room?
That's what we thought. So going, like, we were talking probably like this, but then there was times where we talk like really quiet. And like, we tested everything. But so what we did is we decided let's ask questions using these taps. So we said tap once for yes, tap anything more than once for no.
A ghost starts answering their questions.
We had a yes or no conversation for 35 minutes with something that we cannot explain.
Mm-hmm.
And we did everything because we were skeptical at this
Did
point.
you film any of this?
We didn't think so. But apparently, one of our friends, he's like super religious, was like, hey, no matter what, the entire night, he was keeping an audio recording in his pocket.
We had no idea.
We had no idea that he was doing that.
So nobody talked about it. So if there was something there, it didn't know either.
Yeah, we had no idea he had pulled that out. Like, we genuinely were like, okay, no one's filming. We even say in this audio recording, like, no one's filming. Like, this is no bullshit. Like, everyone, please, like, be serious about this. And so we had this conversation back and forth, and we tried to trick it. You know, like, we would ask questions in different manners, like, okay, is there more than one of you? Yes. And then we'd say, are you alone? And it would say no. Back and forth, trying to get this thing. And the story kept straight the entire time. Mm-hmm. And we were like, okay, come on, there could be someone, like, screwing with us. This is, like, on, the news of being, like, haunted place.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Well, what was crazy about it, too, is all the knocks, they weren't just coming from one section. That would make sense if, like, maybe something outside was, like, tapping. These knocks would be like below us and then above us to our sides. Some would be louder than other ones. We went out to the hallway a couple times and we realized that we were like the last room besides like this like utility room to our left. And obviously we had like basically that whole like floor to ourselves as well since it was super late.
Yeah, and then like sometime in the middle we were like okay, like let's like ask a question under our breath.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like this thing does not want us to leave. And at that moment, the entire floor shook. Boom. Like, we were all like, oh my God, what was that? Was
Or you could feel the vibration in your feet.
Crashing on the ship or something. It was huge. And so we're like, okay, so this thing doesn't want us to leave. And maybe we should just like ask questions under our breath for the rest of the time, just so we know it's not some employee, it's not someone like screwing with us the entire time. So fast forward to the very end, we were like, okay, we've had a bunch of conversations. At this point, we really believe if this is truly something, I want to know something about something deeper than just yes or no questions or just like something silly of like how many people are here. So I decided, let's ask about religion. And I ask out, is there a heaven? And it knocks 3 times, meaning no.
The answer no sent chills down everyone's spine.
And at that point, our 2 religious friends that were there like immediately jumped up and said, we have to leave right now.
We had no idea why.
Why? What's going on? Like, I'll tell you in the car, like, just don't look back. Let's go. Let's leave. And so we walked out. We left. We got all the way to the car without anyone saying anything. And as soon as we got in the car, we're like, what's going on? Like, why do we have to leave? He's like, well, in the Christian religion, anything like demonic or evil is supposed to like basically disprove that there is a heaven in order, And so what they were saying is like, we don't think this is some like spirit or something paranormal there. We think it was something that was trying to lead you away from heaven or Christianity.
Demonic territory type thing. But that also just depends on what you believe in. Obviously, like our roommates were very, very Christian, very religious. And so when they heard the knocks saying no, they thought it was just kind of like a sign from like a demon to like steer us away from God, saying like this does not exist. And so they without question ran before we could even, like we kind of were wanting to stay there to ask more things.
It was really interesting. Because
so this is your first experience with anything paranormal.
Well, first very believable one. There has been plenty of times where we hear things or like, you know, things are scary.
In like the abandoned places, but they're also decrepit old places that creak and stuff.
Yeah, old dark places make you freak out.
Exactly. Sure. This is the first conversation, we should say, that we've had.
So up until that point, did you believe in ghosts before? And like, what is the feeling like when you have to sort of process the end of that day?
So that was a monumental change in not only like our career, but also like our at least my like thought process in life. Because yes, I had the idea that maybe something else is out there. Like I had grown up a Christian, but at that time we'd gone to so many scary places. We'd you know tackled a bunch of like life questions, philosophical questions throughout our time together, and we're like, okay, like after asking about it, like for me, I was like losing like faith in something else. I was like, okay, maybe we're just the only things out here. And after that moment, I had like a full on like breakdown the next day. Like I was like everything that I had thought was not real now becomes real. And I had like pretty much lost any sort of like faith at that point. But there is even a video of me online like sitting on my bedroom floor like crying to camera saying like I truly didn't believe, and now this instance opens up this whole world. Like maybe I don't immediately believe 100%, but the question of if there's something else out there is now back in my brain.
One night changed his entire belief system.
And I want to chase that. And so after the whole arrest and going to the haunted stuff, that was like, it wasn't necessarily we were like 1,000% believers the second we like had this experience, but it was so intriguing because it was one of those things that we couldn't explain. We told this story so many times, and the audio of this actually happening, the knocks, is online. So many people don't believe it because they weren't there. And we wouldn't believe it if we weren't there. And so we understand that people don't believe us when we talk about these things.
Yeah.
However, just the idea that it could be real and the idea that it could happen again is what's so intriguing, and is why we got into it. We're like, okay, if we can just keep doing this and keep getting more and more proof, like that feeling of hope of like, okay, there is something else out there. And it is not just, okay, we're just going to live and die here on the planet.
Yeah.
It's so special.
No matter what you believe in, no matter what religion you have, it's like we realized that experience for us, it taught us that there is something else. It's more spiritual than anything. And we wanted to spread that message as well to as many people as possible. Again, no matter what they believed in.
But your roommates thought it was demonic.
They took like the Christian route. And that's, again, that's up to whoever is viewing this or experiencing it themselves. But yeah, they took it very religiously.
How did you feel? Did you feel like it was a demon, or did you feel like it was a ghost or dead people? What did you think it was?
I don't know. At the time, I definitely thought it was like a demon because these two guys are like yelling at me, saying like, dude, this is 100% without a shadow of a doubt like a demon. And I'm like, well, I don't know exactly what I believe in. Like, this is already like rattling my brain right now. But it was scary. Mm-hmm. And what was scarier is trying to go back into it and repeating the process. Because like, we didn't know what we were messing with. If it was a demon, like, hell, maybe if it is all real, are we just screwing ourselves over by like going in all these places?
Are you inviting that thing into your life?
Right.
How many times did you guys go to the Queen Mary?
3-4 times?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times.
So you went back after that?
We did.
Yeah. Did you leave the roommates at home?
At that point, yeah.
We did.
Like our final stint, which was actually last year, we hadn't gone back in 3 years, but we wanted to like, the Queen Mary actually shut down, which was sad.
Oh, really? When was that?
Last year, they lost like funding and whatever.
They might be opening up now.
They're trying to like raise money and like get it back up, but...
Yeah.
So we thought this was the last time we'd ever see the ship. So we're like, let's go say goodbye to the thing that literally started this whole adventure for us. And so Colby and I went back alone.
Same room?
B340.
Same room, alone. Like
do they
repeating.
rent that room out to anybody?
They do now. They do now.
But for 30 years they didn't.
For the 30 years.
We were like the first people to get to it.
That's so
After
crazy.
30 years. But again, that's all alleged as well. Like, who knows if it's like a marketing ploy? And again, we were so skeptical that like Sam and I, when those knocks first started to happen, like we were like looking under things. We were like, this room has to be bugged.
See if you can find anything about that room. So find anything about the Queen Mary
Outside of what they have, okay.
room 340.
Yeah, it's B340.
B340. So they told you that there was multiple murders that took place in that room?
Yeah, if you
Imagine
pull up
that
a
you guys
picture,
were just like an hour away from killing your roommates.
Oh my god.
Literally,
Yeah, like if we kept
One
going
more
at
hour,
it,
just
like
kept asking questions.
he just turns on us. Says goodbye.
It just starts talking to you.
what the room looks
This
like.
is
That's
the
what
room.
they're-
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
god, it gives you chills.
What does it say on the wall?
So
Is
you
that
can
scripture?
Well, they have
What does it
literally
say?
experiences of each like different family.
Yeah, there's a ton of.
Oh my god! So it's like openly haunted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so anytime someone has like a crazy experience that they deem notable, they'll write it on the wall.
There's
Oh,
our
there's our
thumbnail
thumbnail
right
right there.
It's the Bloody Mary wall.
Yeah, and they have instructions to do Bloody. It's definitely cheesy a little bit. Like they have the Bloody Mary like
Bloody
challenge on it.
Mary. What does that mean?
So Bloody Mary is like this challenge that a lot of people used to do like as like children or whatever. You like go in front of a mirror, turn the light off, have one candle, spin around 3 times while saying Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary.
Oh, so it's Candyman.
Exactly.
Pretty
Candyman.
much,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's the evolution of Candyman. And so that's like gimmicky, obviously. But there's
That's
a
the
lot of
faucet.
stories all over the.
That's the one that turned on, yeah.
And so this room, is there any documentation that people actually died in that room?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm curious because like when we went there again, like we were very different than where we're at now. Like we didn't do like super extensive research. What we did is we like would. We'd take the article that it says it is, but obviously we're not
Right.
going back and fact checking that. And then we'd go and talk to the employees. And so most of our stories were all like firsthand encounters with the employees that were there, or things that they would tell us rather than,
And the employees seem to believe it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Every
for sure.
employee like we've met pretty much at all these haunted places are true believers. Those are the ones that said like they could see stuff following us. So yeah, people that work there like are super into like the paranormal and stuff.
That's
so.
what's fucked, right? Because there's only a handful of those people that are there day in, day out.
Right, right.
Like, and you can dismiss that.
or it's like,
or it might be real.
right, right.
That's the thing. It's just the thing that gnaws at me. It's like it's so easy to dismiss ghosts. Oh, ghosts are bullshit. But the problem is there's so many people that say they've seen it over so many years, literally hundreds and hundreds of years. It makes you wonder, because if there are multiple dimensions, and if life is, if you are a physical body that's carrying around a soul, like where does that thing go?
yeah, if energy doesn't die,
What-
where does it all
and
go?
what happens if something horrible takes place? Like there's some crazy traumatic moment, gunshots and stab wounds, and like where does that soul go? Is it possible that things get trapped
Right.
in between worlds, and that these people that work in these places or you guys
all right.
experience them?
Exactly.
Episode 1976. When a strange being was captured in Brazil, the military sealed the town. Decades later, the truth behind Brazil's Roswell remains hidden.
So we're following and pleading with him all the way out there. Please, just tell us, please. I swear on my life this happened. He gets in the car, doors open. He looks up, and the only reason why I'm telling you this because he died. He looks up at Marco and I, and he goes, "It happened." Closed the door, and off he went. Now, the reason why I share that is because that's not something that I can put any weight on for the documentary for people like you, right? But as a personal message for me, knowing that level of validation on the inside, it kept us going. It was like, okay, why on earth would he have done that? Why on earth would he say? And that kept Marco and I going. And that was a personal level of validation that
Is there any conventional explanation why the military shut everything down? Why they had military barricades set up around that area?
No, they did try to say that the creature was this guy who's got like some deformities. But I've seen the guy Modine or something like that. But you talk to the witnesses.
But why would the military
Yeah,
shut the
I
town
know.
down because a guy
Yeah,
with
and then-
deformities?
And
is
then
there?
for the doctors in the hospital, they said, oh, there was like a midget having a baby or something weird, just something that was just so ridiculous. It was like, and you talk to the witnesses, and they're just like, oh, come on, I'm not even gonna, That's laughable at best. I mean, these girls came within 8 to 10 feet. Three women, Katya, 2 sisters, Liliani, and Valkyria, 14, 16, and 21. They got within 8 to 10 feet in broad daylight of this creature. And one of the things that doesn't come across in the film, when they saw this thing, they're looking like, what are we looking at here? They're walking through this field, and it's up against a cinder block wall. And one of them was looking at it, what is that? And it was crouched by the wall. It was weak and feeble. And one of them kind of like screeched, like, what is that? And it turned, and it looked right at the girls, locked eyes on them. Liliana grabs her younger sister, who's 14, Valkyria, and hightails it out of there. Katya is 21. She's frozen in her tracks, locked eyes with this creature, and it's communicating with her. Please help me. He wants help. It's weak and it's feeble and it's scared, and it's crouched down. Liliani realizes that Katya is back there. She gets, 100 feet down the path. She leaves her sister, stay here, I'm going back to get Katya. She runs back. And I asked Katya, and I asked all the girls, during that moment of contact, when you lock eyes, I know it's only a brief second, but during that moment of contact, what did you feel? Like, put me there. That's where the title comes from, Moment of Contact, because that was when they locked eyes on this creature. And that's when Katya said, help me, I'm scared. And it was feeble and suffering. And it's a very powerful moment. And these girls have been saying the same thing. The mother, it's the first time I'd ever reported on these so-called like men in dark suits that show up and intimidate witnesses. Honestly, I've been hearing about those cases for so many times, but I've avoided them because it's got so much baggage from Men in Black. It's just ridiculous. I just didn't even want to be associated with it. But I'd heard it. I can go on until I'm blue in the face. I go till tomorrow morning with the amount of cases, with generals too. But this time, when the mother said that these men showed up and tried to get the daughters to say they were lying.
Then came the men in black with cash and threats.
And it offered her a briefcase full of $100 bills, and they could relocate. I don't know. For some reason, I said, okay, for the first time in 25 years, I'm going to report on these guys. And I did. And it's in the movie. You can hear the mother talking about it, and she's so emotional. And the mother came back to the location right after it happened. The smell, that stench, and the footprint on the ground. I mean, everybody talks about that stench, that it was so... They said, if you ever take like a skunk, multiply that by like 100,000, that would give you some indication of the level of like how putrid and nasty. It was paralyzing. And it stayed in the areas, like at the hospitals when they did the x-rays, and everybody talks about it. That stench, it was unbelievable. Like it fills your navel cavities and doesn't leave for a week. It was incredible. And they all said the same thing.
And they couldn't get it out.
They couldn't get it out. Yeah, they sanitized the hospital. The guy said that he had to close off that wing of the hospital while they were sanitizing it because it was so intense. So
How long did it last for?
I heard days and weeks is what I heard from people. And even the mother said when she went to where the creature was, she said that the stench, even there after the creature was gone, got in her nasal cavities, and she tried to flush it out with water and saline or whatever, and she just couldn't get it out of her nasal cavities. Really crazy. But they all did. I mean, everybody talked about that stench, I mean, the military officer, the guy that drove the creature around, I was sitting across from him. You can't see his face, but I did. And I'm looking this guy in the eyes. I'm thinking, I could be looking at a guy that drove a fucking alien around.
He might have spoken to the man who drove an alien.
You have no idea, dude. You have no idea.
How did he describe it?
So fucking intense. When I came back from that trip, people were like, how was your trip to Brazil? What was it like, man? They got great, smoothies and coffee. And I'm just like, you guys have no idea. I think an alien spaceship crashed, and they recover live aliens. And we made contact, and the Americans came in. That's what I'm thinking about. So I told a couple people. On the last trip I came back, I was just like, I was so rocked. I couldn't reintegrate back into the culture. I was just like, fuck, I think this happened. It's the biggest story ever. So people were asking me, even my neighbor who runs he runs that Make-A-Wish Foundation. He was like, James, he goes, bro, I like you a lot and I got a lot of respect for you, but you lost me on this one. And I was like, I don't blame you, bro. I really don't. But listen to the witnesses. Just, that's all I say. And I would tell people, and I realized I can't talk about it. All I can say is just listen to the witnesses. Don't take it from me. But I'm looking at that guy in the eyes, Joe. And I've been at this for 30 years. I'm working on my 7th film right now. I'm looking this guy in the eyes and I'm like, this guy probably drove an alien around. And it tripped me out so hard. And it ruined his life. He's to get this guy to go on camera, just like a week earlier, he was like, I don't care all the money in the world. I'm never coming forward. The risks are too high.
How did it ruin his life?
Because you're harboring this secret. You're being watched. You're being told not to ever talk about this.
Haunted not by ghosts, but by the military's silence.
And you're looking over your shoulder all the time. And they call you, the military calls you periodically. They want to know where you are. And he's got this secret inside him that he can't tell the rest of the world. And he's thinking about all the different, everyone's out there speculating, is it real, is it fake, is it real, is it fake? And this guy drove a body around. Just think about that for a second. Think about the doctor who took the x-rays of this thing. Marco Leal, thank you, Marco, you're the man. Marco Leal found him 8 years ago. And he was like, he confirmed the story. He was still working at Regional Hospital. He goes, I'll never come forward. Marco kept going every year back and forth. Then he retired. And 4 years after he retired, he agreed to meet with us. He wasn't even sure he was going to go on. And I said, look, man, we'll film you from the back. We'll disguise your voice. Showed us photographs of him at the hospital. We know we've been trying to get at him. Excuse me. At the end of the interview, he said, thank you. I feel so much better. I've been shouldering that burden for 26 years, and I've so desperately wanted to tell somebody, to share that story with the rest of the world. And you meet these people, and you think, why on earth they didn't come to us? They're not trying to sell their story. We tracked them down and begged and pleaded with them to come forward. When I found Martha, the sister of the deceased military officer, Marco Chirizi, we were knocking on doors. I remember the sound guy from Rio de Janeiro. He was like, you're out of your mind, dude. What are you doing? You can't just knock on random doors. I was like, man, if there's a will, there's a way. I'm going to find this lady. And we found her. And it was like this kind of sketchy area. You know, it's like when you get out of your car and you could see like people drawing the curtains back and looking at you and you're standing out like, dude, I stood out like a sore thumb, man. And then we walked up. I had Marco with me, thank God, and we had camera crews and stuff. It's kind of sketchy. And Marta appears, and her husband appears in this he's a big guy, and he's got like a white beater shirt on, and he looks like he wants to rip my fucking head off. And I'm like, and she's looking at me, and he's just looking at her going, Marta's looking at her husband, and her husband's looking at Marta like, give me the signal, I'll kill this guy. That's the fucking... And I was looking at Marco, and I was like, James, you need to think quick on your feet right now. And I said immediately, please translate this. I'm here to give your brother justice. I'm here to get the story out. Please, talk to me. And we developed a relationship with her slowly over that. And those were the first words that we exchanged. And we eventually got her to come forward, and we talked. She'd gone forward in the past, but she doesn't know who the hell I am.
I want to take you back to the doctor.
Okay.
When you talked to the doctor, what did he describe?
He said that it was a normal day, January 1996. It was a regional hospital. He said every day, and all of a sudden, all these military trucks and police cars showed up at the hospital. They come in armed, and they got a bag. They got a thing in a black body bag. And he was like, what the hell's going on here? They're like, you're going to be taking some x-rays. And he's like, okay. And they had him inside, and they had armed guards. And I was asking him, like, what was it like? 'Cause
Armed guards, sealed halls, the alien under X-ray.
when I interview witnesses, I always ask them to project. Sometimes I'll even close my eyes because I'll use their words to recreate. So I'm like living it through them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'll close my eyes, and I'll recreate the scenes in my head with their words, right? It's harder in Portuguese because I'm having to get it translated. But I ask questions like, what was the atmosphere like? Was there any talking? No talking. Super tense atmosphere. very tense. Armed guards on the outside, armed guards on the inside, military trucks running. Nobody comes, nobody goes. And he said, first time in in the history of my career, I took the x-rays and I couldn't even verify that they were good because they took them immediately. And then they said this event never happened. He said the stench in the hotel, in the hospital was overwhelming. And he goes through the different x-rays that he took, the abdomen, the head, the arms, the legs, the thorax, and it was incredible. In fact, Ubarajara Rodriguez, if you're listening to this, he's one of the leading researchers, has gone quiet. Peccaccini disappeared for 20 years.
Did he get to see images himself? Did he get to see the body himself?
Oh, he was right. Well, they didn't open the body bag, but he said the stench was just overwhelming.
So they x-rayed it through the body bag?
They x-rayed it through the body bag.
So he never got to see...
He did not see the alien.
And he didn't get to see the x-ray images or anything?
Nope. They wouldn't let him see a damn thing. Nope. Now, there were two doctors. There was a guy named Roger Lear. Roger Lear found out, these are people that I really want to meet. I mean, people are coming forward in droves right now. We just got 2 forensic pathologists for the first time ever working together to come forward to make statements, and they're providing documentation of the autopsy reports done on the deceased military officer. That's the first time ever these guys are coming forward, and it's happening right now.
Let's explain what happened to people who haven't watched the documentary to the deceased military officer.
Yeah, so right after the 3 girls came within 8 to 10 feet of this creature or being or entity or ET, whatever you want to call it, about an hour later, it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would say probably maybe around 5 o'clock, there were 2 military guys on patrol on the lookout for something unusual, what they were told. They didn't say a UFO had crashed. They were on the lookout for something highly unusual. And it was Eric Lopes at the wheel and Marco Chirizi, military police, in the passenger seat.
A soldier jumped and caught the alien with his bare hands.
They were about 1.5 blocks to 2 blocks away from where the girls had seen the creature a couple of hours earlier. And this thing runs across the car in front of them. He had slammed his brakes on, and without a moment's hesitation, Marco Chiriz jumps out of the car and grabs the thing with his bare hands. Yeah. And he puts it in the back seat, and they drive it to a clinic, and the doctor is like, what the hell is that? Get it out of here. I don't know what, leave. So they went to regional hospital, and then ultimately it went to Humanitas Hospital. And so we have testimony from Military X that when he drove it from Humanitas Hospital, it's in the movie, but he drove it from Humanitas Hospital to as a military base where it spent the night in the truck for one night, and then it went from there to Espesex Campinas. It's like a university. It's where all the intellectual scientific heavyweights reside. And then it was there, I think, under examination, according to the witnesses that we talked to, for a day or two, and that's when the Americans flew in to Campinas. And we have the radar military control officer who came forward last year, actually 2 years ago when we were there filming for the last time. His name is Marco Feres, F-E-R-E-S. And he came forward for the first time and he said, yeah, in January of 1996, this plane came in, USAF, he kept calling it, United States Air Force, came in. It didn't have the authorization of the Brazilian government. And he was like, this thing can't land. And some higher up stepped into the room. This is his testimony. I'm just relaying what he said. He said some higher up came in the room and said, let it land. And it came and it landed at Campinas. And then from Campinas, 2 helicopters, according to him, flew to Varginha, Brazil, Varginha back to Campinas. Then they loaded something on the airplane and then off to the United States. And that's where the case goes cold.
Episode number 2317, Giants in the Bible, Myths, and Archaeology. Joe Rogan and Cody Tucker explores if these stories could be more than imagination. 72. Joe Rogan and historian Lindsay Fitzharris uncover the eerie origins of the plague doctor mask, one of history's creepiest medical tools.
It's important when you're studying the history of medicine to really get into the mindset because it's so wildly different to the way we think.
Right.
Actually, do you know what this is that I brought? This, if people are just listening, it's a long beaked mask. I don't
like
know
a
if I'm
bird
holding
mask.
this up. Yeah.
I do not know what that is.
Okay, so a lot of people think this is a Venetian mask. This is actually particularly a particular example from Venice. It is what doctors would have worn during the bubonic plague. So it's called the plague doctor mask. And so it was invented in the 17th century by a French doctor. And the idea behind it was, so people thought that disease was spread by this thing called miasma, which are like little particles in the air. They're sort of associated with bad smells. So if something smells bad, it's probably not good for you, is what they thought. And it kind of makes sense because if, like, you know, you're in a really, if you're in a slummy area of the Victorian period, it probably has a lot of disease. It probably doesn't smell good. So that was sort of the thinking behind it. So what you would do is you would put sweet-smelling herbs into the beak. And so you would be smelling this in. It would protect you from those evil miasma.
Sweet herbs against invisible evil. Science once smelled its way through death.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know.
Is that a real one?
No, we don't actually have, I don't believe there's an example of a real one from the 17th century, but there's a lot of illustrations of the plague doctor. And he would have been wearing a hat, he would have been wearing a cape, leather gloves, like sort of just protecting himself. Oh, there you go.
That's a real one? Authentic 16th century plague doctor mask preserved and on display at the, whoa, there you go, another one. Deutschen German Museum of Medical History.
But I question that because it was invented in the 17th century. So if it's real, it's going to be a little bit later.
Interesting.
But we don't know how much they were worn because they would have been expensive. A lot of doctors weren't very noble. So if the plague broke out, they got the hell out of there. There was sort of a phrase, go far and go long, you know, get out and don't come back for a while. God. There wasn't much they could do for you. They had a stick as well that they would sort of poke the patient with so they wouldn't have to touch the patient and kind of have them turn over and they can, you know, yes, you have the plague. There wasn't much they could do for you. We can cure the plague.
They did not know what germs were, so they really didn't understand what the plague was.
They had sort of a concept of contagion. So if you broke out with the plague, they would probably quarantine you in your house, and they put a big cross on the door.
Isolation by cross. A family sealed in to die or survive.
And so people would bring food, and you'd put a basket outside of your window with a rope, and you take. And so they do that until everybody was dead in the house, or that the plague had passed, and they felt that you were safe to come out into the general population. So there was an idea that these things were contagious, but not again in the way that we kind of understand diseases being spread today.
God, it's so strange that they would. You would not know what was going on. Like people would just start dying, and you'd be like, "What is
you would
this
think
a curse?"
That it was, it could be God's curse. And people say, you know, oh, the plague mask is so terrifying.
It is pretty creepy. Can I put it on?
It's super creepy, but I always say that it's good luck. This is why I brought this across the Atlantic so Joe Rogan could wear the plague doctor mask.
Yeah, how many people would know what that is? Like if you went,
if you go to Venice,
party?
they say plague doctor mask.
Really?
It's funny because I was just in Venice recently, and they were saying that the big carnival that they have every year, it's becoming harder to do because of security reasons. So you have like a huge population of a city wearing masks and covering their identities.
Oh.
So they have to cut back, which kind of sucks because that's like the fun of the carnival. So now they're cutting back where you can wear them in public places and things like that. But
what a weird world we live in.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
Can't even wear a plague mask.
Can't wear a plague mask. I'm going to bring it back though. I'm just going to be walking around in downtown LA with
How would that attach to your face? Was it like straps or something?
Yeah, there would have been straps, or in that other example he was showing, it looked like it was sort of a full-on.
Oh, there it goes.
From leather beaks to hazmat suits, Death's costume just evolved.
I mean, that looks so creepy.
It's so creepy, but
Death.
Today we have the modern plague doctor. What do you think that would be?
Yeah, the
hazmat. Yeah, exactly. And so you think about the hazmat going into hot zones. That would be pretty scary if you didn't know what was going on. And certainly sort of ominous, when you see the hazmat. So it's a weird thing that exists because in a strange kind of way, it probably did protect the plague doctor because he was covering himself up, but it protected him for the wrong reasons. He still didn't understand how disease was spread.
Episode number 2013, Lost in the Heart of the Amazon, a guide shares his terrifying encounter with jaguars and uncontacted tribes hidden deep in the jungle.
I was very lost and very alone, and I was like on like day 6 or something of being lost. I don't remember. No, it wasn't that long of a solo. But I was lost and I was scared. And I was in a hammock.
How did you get lost?
Well, as soon as you leave the river, like you could literally walk 15 feet and then be like, I'm just going to come right back. And the jungle will like Blair Witch you. Because it's all green. So you just like think you know what you're doing. Just just last week, I took people, I wanted to cross from one trail to another trail, and I was like, I'm a guide, I can do this. And I came back out on the same trail like a half hour later, and I was like, yep, that's what I meant to do. Let's go. And like, happens to JJ all the time.
Really?
You cannot find your way in the
Do
jungle.
you use a compass?
Don't use a compass.
Why not?
Because actually, apparently, some of the iron content and some of the saps in the trees pulls the needle. It doesn't work really well. Like,
Even the trees are trying to trick you. Oh my God.
GPSs run out of batteries. You know, it's like you really just you have to learn your bushcraft. You have to learn how to navigate in the jungle, and it's like which is pretty much you have to get just amazing at dead reckoning and remembering your course, because it's so dense that like we play with people. We go, we'll go see if you can go from here to there. And it's like they can't go there. They can't do that as soon as you leave the river. So like I had gone out on this solo, gotten lost, gotten scared, and then been like, oh shit, what if I just like into the wilded myself? What if now I'm gonna be the next kid that went and died in the Amazon? And like I like slept in the hammock, but this is like as I was learning, so I didn't realize that the hammock that I had bought had a mosquito net on top, but the back was not mosquito proof, so they could stick through. So my back was being destroyed by mosquitoes as I'm trying to sleep. And like a couple of nights of that. And so I finally fall asleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and
Imagine waking up inches from a jaguar's breath.
I hear breathing right next to my face. And I like wanted to turn my headlamp on, and I just hear like right here. Like I could feel her breath. And I was like 6 inches away from a jaguar's face. And she just like, and then left. And she just came in. She wanted to see what that was. She was like, you're not going to move. That's what you're not going to do. She growled like right into my ear. And then later on. But that one's cute though. That's a cute picture. That's a cute jag.
Wow. And they vary in colors and the spots and everything, right? Like some of them are much darker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, actually somebody recently was like, where do you see panthers? And I went on this whole thing of like, a leopard or a jaguar, just like you can have albinos, you have a melanistic one. Yeah.
Wow.
So like people would call that a panther, but a panther's not a real, there's no animal that's a panther. It's like a Kleenex. It's like it's just another name for it.
That is so beautiful.
But a black
Look
jag.
at that thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, in South India they have the black leopards.
What an
are
amazing
stunning.
looking animal.
Look at the muscles.
Yeah, it's an amazing killing machine. And so humans don't get taken out by them?
I can only really speak for our region of the Amazon, but I haven't even heard a story about it.
Really?
Like no one. Our jags are just, we have like record numbers of jags. Like I think they're listed as near threatened, and we have like some of the strongest remaining jaguar populations in the world. It's incredible.
And
like
you barely see them.
We barely see them. The last one I saw was 2 years ago. And some people like go their whole lives without seeing them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because people walk off into the jungle and they don't realize. People, it's so funny living in the wild and seeing people show up there. And it's like people come and they're like, they smell like shampoo and cologne and bug spray and deodorant. And they're just like, if to an animal that has such better senses than we do, they might as well just have like sirens on them. And like you are this shiny, glittering foghorn of attention in the jungle, and like every animal is going to run away from you. And so people are always like, how come you go out and you see so much stuff? And it's like, I only shower in the river. I live out in the jungle. I smell like they do. Like I'm out there for weeks, and it's like I'm not going and like shampooing my hair. It's like, and so like to these animals, like they know when you're coming. Like a jag's just going to be like, oh, there's a human there.
Do you wash with soap when you wash in the river?
I do use a biodegradable soap. You have to keep your skin clean or else you just get infections. But like for the most part, like my clothing, everything, like I don't use anything that's scented because of that, because I want to be out there and just blend in. And that's whether I'm out in the field with elephants or whether you're out in Africa or India or whether you're in the Amazon. I want to be sort of like included. I want to blend in. And so like not that long ago, I was checking a camera trap and I thought it was we had students at our research station at the time, and I heard like the leaves going like and it was like September, so the jungle was dry. And I turned around and I was going to scare this person because I was going to be like, who walks that loud in the jungle? Like, you have no respect.
He blends into the jungle until death walks right past him.
And I turned around with my finger up and this jag walked right by me on the trail and just went, "What's up?" And just kept walking, and I was like, finger up, and I was like, okay.
Oh Lord.
But I took that as good because at least I was my like scent trail was so that he didn't know I was there. I could see it on his face. He didn't care. He was like, "Hey," but I mean, he was 6 feet away. He didn't even break his stride. He just walked by me. He was like, "Yo, what's up?"
They don't think of you as food, so they just keep moving.
No, and I think they're, with big cats, they're the mothers teach the young how to hunt, and I think they're so oriented. Like with tigers, they're so oriented on horizontal. Get the neck from underneath, break the neck from up top, and it's like when they see a vertical animal walking by, I think they're like, first of all, I don't know what this is. Second of all, it smells weird. Third of all, where do I even, you got to be desperate to take that risk. I don't think that lions are a different story, but with jags, with tigers, with leopards, I've never ever felt any fear being around a jaguar, like any fear. I don't even take pictures of them. I just enjoy it.
Wow.
I let other people take pictures. If I'm with people, I'll let them take pictures, but I will not lift my camera for a jag. I'll just stand there and just
take it in.
Yeah. You get to see them so rarely. I don't want to sit there finally seeing one and then put another screen in front of my face. Look through it through some glass. Like,
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our camera.
They've started them. That's from yours?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That is so majestic. What an amazing animal. Those glowing eyes.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You shine your headlamp into the night, and then when things look back at you, you got to wonder what it is. It's like,
well, when there's two eyes in the front, it's
two eyes in the front. Yeah, but sometimes the deer, but then the jags do this thing where they move their head like this. They try and see around your headlamp. They'll do this little side to side thing. Like the deer, they'll just blink at you. They'll just blink, and so you start learning the eye shines. You start learning the. Because then you can be out there at night and you look at something and people are like, "Oh shit, dude, it's a jag." And it's like, no, it's a deer.
When the jungle itself starts calling, you'd better run.
When you were saying that the uncontacted tribe were speaking in monkey calls, what are they doing?
So JJ's dad used to tell us, he said, if you're ever out in the forest and something doesn't sound right, he was like, get out of there. And he was like, because they will use the tinamou calls. Like the undulated tinamou is like, but like we know what that sounds like, but we also know what it doesn't sound like. And so like every now and then you'll hear one that's, different. And like we all get freaked out because we're like, that's how we do it. That's how JJ taught me to do it. Like if there was a bunch of tourists right there and JJ wanted me to come over and like chill with him and we wanted to go hang, he would just do that. You'd get my attention. And like I know that it's not a tinamou. I know it's JJ. And so it's like they've taken that to a whole nother level where they can communicate. And so there was a group of guys who was upriver, and they got surrounded. They heard monkey calls coming from different directions, and they realized that they were completely surrounded. And like at least one of the guys who was telling it to me, he got in the water and like crawled like a turtle and like escaped. And then the tribe showed up, and then there was this whole showdown where they actually shot one of the community members, and then one of the guys who knows some of their language was saying that it looked like they were mad with the guy that shot the guy. They were mad with him. Like they were like, "Why did you do that? Now there's going to be retaliation. Like, why did you shoot him?" And like there was like a whole discussion happening while these people were like huddled in the stream waiting to see if they got killed too. So it's like I don't really, so when you get these loggers going in there, it's like, yo, we'll pay you to protect the rainforest, and like you don't have to do this. You don't have to be going into these areas that are that dangerous. So at this point now, though, through all of this, though, we've established jungle keepers. We have 50,000 acres. We're trying to do 300,000 acres. And if we can do that, we'll basically be helping to establish one of the largest protected areas in the Amazon rainforest, which will encompass these uncontacted people. And they can stay uncontacted and they can stay safe and do whatever they want to do in the jungle, guarding the secret pyramids and the giant ground sloths or whatever the hell it is that they do. But we're close.
Now, how many uncontacted tribes are they aware of?
I think there's like over 100 different groups across the Amazon. Wow. There's also varying degrees of, and the other thing is the conversation so often gets turned to like they're, violent, and that they're people that live out in the jungle. And I have no idea how they do it either because, at night we need headlamps. We don't have Night vision. All the animals have night vision. So it's like, what do they do that night? They're able to make fire in the jungle at night every day. If I gave you an entire book of matches, me and you, we sat down right now in the jungle. I was like, okay, cool. You got a machete and a book of matches. First one to make fire wins.
How do they light fire in the rainforest's endless rain?
We couldn't do it. It's wet. Everything is wet. So how are they? Are they doing bow drill? What are they doing? So
We don't know.
We don't really know. No. We don't know how they do that. We don't know how they stay infection free. We don't know what they do with their old people. We never see old people. We never really see children. And so like they move around and we see like groups of men on beaches. We see like that aerial picture where you see like a family group out. That's in turtle season where you have turtles laying their eggs on the beaches and the tribes will come out because that's easy food. You just pick up turtle eggs and eat them. But there's so much that we don't know about their lifestyle. And like people get so many things wrong. Just, if you leave them alone, then they won't kill you. If then people go, oh, they're Stone Age tribes. And it's like, well, they're not Stone Age tribes because they're alive right now. And you couldn't live out in the jungle, but they can.
Right.
So it's like there's elements of their botanical knowledge, their medicinal knowledge, their creation myths, their view of history. I mean, they're coming at reality from a whole different perspective than we are.
And there's really no way to get. Does anyone speak their language? Do we know what language they all speak? Is it universal? Do they have different languages?
It's not universal. And there was someone in our region who captured a child from the uncontacted, raised him in a very remote community, and people have tried. Anthropologists have tried. They've been like, hey, so what was it like when you grew up? And it's dark. He's just like, I don't remember. Like no one's been able to get any information out of him.
How old was he when they captured him?
I think like 6, like under 10 for sure.
Does he not remember? Or does he just not want to talk about it?
I don't know. There's all these underlying stories. Oh man, yeah. There's just. Then last year, some loggers went to a place they shouldn't have gone, and they got whacked. And sort of like the WhatsApp underground in Peru, like everyone was sending each other pictures because one of the cops sent to his family a picture of what the bodies looked like on day 6, laying on the beach with arrows in them and shit. And it was like, oh my God. It was like this. It makes you stay in bed at night.
Curiosity versus caution. Should we ever reach out?
Just like, I am not going out.
Jesus.
But I mean, yeah, it's a complicated topic because there's people that want to contact them. There's people that want to leave them alone. And then, of course, there's missionaries that are like, they need the Bible.
What did you think about Lost City of Z?
I loved the book. I wanted more from the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's only so much time and
yeah.
Hollywood fuckery.
Oh, God. The book was fantastic. And that guy was out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett. But the fact that he could go on those expeditions and not get infected. Mm-hmm. I've been brutally let me show you. I'll show you this picture. I don't think there's any way of pulling this up, but
oh my God.
The jungle just gets into your skin.
Oh, what is that on your face?
MRSA infection. It started mosquito bites, and then I would scratch, and then you don't realize you're spreading it with your fingernails. And you go like this and shit. And so, I almost died from that. But I was staying in the jungle to take care of an anteater. But it's like,
how did you get free of that? If you're in the jungle, did you use antibiotics?
Go home.
You just go home.
I had to go home at that point. I remember I got to JFK, and the guy, he looked down at my passport. He goes, yeah, what were you doing in Peru? And then he looked up at me and he goes, buddy, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm just trying to get it. And he stamped it. He was like, go, 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 go. He's like, go to the doctor. I can't believe they let me through.
Right. You could have been infected with some crazy plague.
Could have had monkey Ebola.
Yeah.
It looked bad. And I spent days in the hospital. It was really, really bad. But for Percy Fawcett to not, they would say other people would be dying. There was somebody, I think the guy's name was Murray. He came from the Shackleton XP. He'd already been out with Shackleton, so he was like, I'm a real explorer. And he didn't last any time with Fawcett. Because Percy Fawcett was just like, you can't keep up? Go die. You can go die with the mules. He just wouldn't stop.
Lost explorer? Dead or crowned? Deep in the green?
So my question is did he go out and eventually get killed? Or did he eventually go out and find the tribe that made him their king and just...
There's no knowledge.
There's no knowledge of it.
Yeah, no one really knows what happened to him.
And they said in that book that over 100 people have died looking for him since he left. Because then the other expeditions that have gone out, all of those have died too.
Episode number 1932. Deep in the Venezuelan jungle, Merlin Tuttle shares the night he was hunted by tribes, stalked by jaguars, and faced down river bandits.
So the village that we were staying with, the guys informed me that now way up the river, 30 miles or so, there was an area that I would love to have collected in, but I couldn't because it was controlled by a group of Yanomamo that had shot at everybody who'd ever gotten near there and, shot arrows. And so I was afraid to go up there to do any collecting. But then our group of Yanomamo informed me that these guys had gone off on a raid to attack another group and probably wouldn't be back for a couple of months. So I got brave and went up into their area where I didn't think they were going to be with a young man, Venezuelan, who worked for me. And we had just parked our dugout canoe on the bank and had gone out into the woods to set nets for bats when we hear 100 or so, maybe not 100, but a goodly number of Yanomamo men coming down the trail. And we immediately thought, oh my God, we're going to be absolutely dead ducks if they find us. But I did know that they don't usually go after their quarry. They usually wait in ambush. So we hid out in the jungle until about 2 o'clock in the morning and then tried turning our lights really dim and sneaking along without making any noise to get back to our canoe and hoping they were asleep. And we'll never know whether they were asleep or not because we did get shoved off and got away. But the very next night, we were stupid enough to think we had gone far enough away that they wouldn't find us, and we went back and tried to net again. And then we heard jaguar noises. And I had a Yanomamo and a Maikitari Indian working for me, and they immediately started warning me, that's not El Tigre. That's the Indians that we're trying to avoid. And
just making jaguar noises.
Right, to communicate among themselves.
What sounded like a jaguar might not be one at all.
Oh, wow.
But I insisted. I thought that these guys were just trying to get out of work because I'd been working them pretty hard and that they wanted to go to bed early that night. So I didn't really take them very seriously. And I went off with my shotgun. Back then we were collecting everything from jaguars to mice. And so in those days it was a big macho thing to shoot a jaguar. So I go off with my shotgun to hunt the jaguar, and it kept moving too fast without noise in between, and I finally dawned on me that, hey, this is more like Indians than jaguars to me even. I went back, and my guys were just ready to actually abandon me and leave me. They were so scared.
Oh, no.
We didn't even take the nets down. We got out of there as fast as we could, went back to camp, and the next day when we came back to get our nets, all the main strands of the nets had been stolen, proving that these were Indians that were after us. And we probably just got out in time.
Woo! So that's the most danger you've ever been in.
I don't know. I mean, there was the time I was crawling into a cave and on my belly in a narrow passage, and all of a sudden found that there was a big cobra coming out, and I had to lay perfectly still so that the cobra didn't get upset while he was going by.
So you had to lay perfectly still while the cobra slithered by you?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And there was the time the river bandits came after us.
River bandits, where was that?
From wild beasts to human predators, danger never ends.
That was in Venezuela on the Costa Chiari Canal. We're getting into stories that probably ought to be told at another time when we're not distracting from bats, but
no, they're fun. We could go back to bats.
To put a long story shorter, the Costa Chiari Canal is the world's longest natural canal, and out in the middle of it, there are just no humans around. And we were camped out there collecting for the Smithsonian. But I carried a lot of small cash to do business when I did come to where there were villages. The small cash was hidden in false bottoms of trunks. The way I got the cash, we were funded through a military grant, and anybody that knows anything about the military knows they've got every restriction under the sun on their money and accounting for it. I had known that their rules weren't going to work very well for collecting, and so I had gotten bids from plane charter companies to fly us out to this remote savannah, and they were going to charge a lot of money because it was risky to the planes, and so I got the military to send the money to the Bank of America in Caracas, and then this was time when you had machine guns at the door of every bank, and I mean it was a dangerous time in Venezuela, period. Well, we pretended to change Christmas gifts, and that's how we got our money into small change and took it back to our hotel. Then we put it in false bottoms of trunks. Then we go out to the frontier, and after a while the word kind of gets around that these guys can always pay for something. They must have some secret supply of money. So one day we're out at this remote camp, and my Venezuelan helpers, Indians, came running up saying, oh, you know, in Spanish, cuidado, the not vandals, but the robbers are coming.
In this time, the danger was closing in fast.
And they were coming up the river in a little motorized dugout, and so that's how my guys heard them in time to know that they were coming, and then they saw them and realized who they were. And so I had just a couple minutes. It's kind of interesting because I was reared to be a conscientious objector, and you know, didn't believe in fighting in war. And so here we are with the bandits coming armed with shot. It was kind of interesting. They had old muzzleloader guns that they actually used rocks and black powder still to shoot. But here they're coming, and I'm responsible for 8 or 10 people, their lives. And am I going to be a conscientious objector, or what am I going to do? And so I broke out all the guns we had, gave everybody one of the, you know, everything from an M1 rifle to a couple double-barreled shotguns, pistols, and got everybody positioned behind rocks and logs. And then as the bandits approached, I yelled down to them in Spanish that we understood who they were, and if they touched that rock, we were going to kill them. And they kept coming. And so I finally had everybody show themselves and their guns and yelled one more time. And the last time I yelled, they were within a meter of hitting the bank. And at that point, we'd have had to kill them.
Whoa.
But they finally, at the last minute, when they saw they were outgunned and that we had the upper hand, they backed up and went off.
That ought to be hair-raising.
It was. But I learned a lot about my conscientious objector ideas.
You're ready to abandon it.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to let good people die just because you don't believe in firing a gun at a human?
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
Yeah.
A very important lesson to learn, right?
Yeah, it was an important one for me.
But boy, you've had some pretty amazing experiences just studying bats around the world. It's been a wild life, I bet, huh?
Well, I've never chosen to get myself into big adventures, but
The adventures chose you.
one of my all-time favorite things to do is to go places where almost nobody's ever been. Like when I went out to see the Shamatari Indians, I had to hike 46 miles across country from the last Yanomama village to get out there and see them. And I just went out there. I mean, I knew it was dangerous. How dangerous, I didn't know, but I just was driven by curiosity. Here's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see a group of people that have only seen 2 other outsiders in their whole existence. And it was just so much fun going out there and experiencing that kind of thing. But I certainly got into high adventure while I was out there.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. So you got to hike. How long did it take you to hike 46 miles to get to them?
Well, we did it in a day and a half. I had a 40-some pound pack. We went extra fast because I did not know when we started on the trip that the reason these 2 Shamatari came out to visit our Yanomamo group because they were looking for allies in a battle. They're expecting to be raided by another tribe.
Whoa.
And I didn't know this is why they were there. But when I asked through my interpreters, and let me point this out too, when you watch a movie and they're speaking pidgin English, there's no such thing as a place where people are really Aboriginal and you're speaking pidgin English to them.
5 layers of translation. What could possibly be lost in meaning?
Everything I said on that whole trip out there had to be translated by me from English to Spanish, and then from Spanish to Maikritari, from Maikritari to Yanomamo, and from Yanomamo to Shamatari.
Oh, my God.
You can imagine there were a few miscommunications.
Oh, my God.
So,
what year was this? This was happening?
This was 1967.
Okay, so clearly there's no cell phones, no other ways of communicating.
Right.
Wow.
So we did not know that these guys were expecting an attack until we had already left with them to go out to their village.
Oh, boy.
And what we eventually found was that the reason they welcomed us so strongly was that they thought we'd bring our bang sticks with us, meaning guns, and be good in the battle.
Oh, boy.
And so by the time we got there, we found out that we had to camp out along the trail the first night, and we found out that they were expecting an attack. My 2 guys, I had to have a Yanomamo and a Maikritari for the translations to go. And incidentally, they knew enough that they wouldn't go. I had a terrible time getting them to go. When I finally convinced them, I had to pay them a month's wages for every day they went out there with me. So that first night, we set up camp by a beautiful stream in the jungle. And then my guys got really suspicious when our 2 Shamatari hosts went off by themselves quite a ways away in a hidden place in the jungle to put up little shelters for their night. And so they got suspicious, went and checked, and found that they were worried about being attacked. And they were leaving us out on the trail to be the bait. And but the next day we arrived out there, and my Maikritari guide had he had been in a Yanomamo village during an attack once. And so since we knew they were thinking of being attacked any time, he instructed me what to do if we were attacked. And he said, right off, play dead. And we were thinking that the attack might come at night. And sure enough, the very first night we're there, I mean, talk about scary experiences. Long before we thought we were being attacked, there were people that had malaria, and there were guys getting really high on drugs to chase the Hikura, the devils, out. And they were going around
the devils out?
Right.
What do you mean?
They believed that everything was attributable to spirits.
Even malaria?
Yeah. There were good spirits and bad spirits. They hadn't evolved to think of one God and one devil. There were just a lot of spirits with good ones and bad ones. And they were trying to chase the bad ones out of the village by getting high on dope and then shooting those curare-tipped arrows at the hallucinated images.
So what drugs were they getting high on?
Eben. It's a powder that I'm trying to think they make it from a vine, I believe.
And what is the psychedelic substance in this drug?
They blow it up their noses.
The ritual turned deadly, caught on camera.
Oh, okay.
If you go to my website, there's a place on the website where you can. I'm trying to remember. We can tell you later exactly how to get to it. But I've got a place on my website where you can actually see that trip. Me out there I had a movie camera with me. You can see them blowing the dope up their nose, and I've got it on film right up until the guy tried to attack and kill me.
Episode number 1425. Garrett Reisman spent 2 weeks living at the bottom of the ocean, 60 feet down, surrounded by sharks, darkness, and the unknown.
Well, you've done underwater exploration as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What have you done there?
I lived for 2 weeks in the bottom of the sea.
Oh, Jesus. I get weirded out. Just you saying that. 2 weeks at the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah.
How deep?
It was exactly 20,000 millimeters under the sea. It was about 60 feet, which works out to be about...
Oh, only 60 feet? That's okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't freak me out too much. I thought you were going to say like miles.
No.
I'd start panicking.
No, it's about 60 feet. But the cool thing was we stayed there for weeks.
Wow.
Now if you're normally scuba diving and you go down 60 feet, you have 60 minutes. And then you got to come back up or you get too much nitrogen in your blood and you're going to get bent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a problem if you just stay. The problem is then if you stay, you build up all that nitrogen in your blood. Now you can't go back up. So like if you run out of air or you lose sight of your buddy or something, you can't go to the surface because within a couple hours you'll be dead.
Wow.
So you have to stay down there. And we use cave diving techniques that we did a lot of training for to be safe. And we had redundant tanks, redundant manifolds, redundant regulators, and we had valves that we can flip around so we can always make sure we can get air without ever having to, in an emergency, ever having to come up, because coming up is not an option.
So how do you eventually get out?
It's a freaky thing. It takes about a day. And what you do is so we're living in this habitat, and it was kind of like a submarine on the bottom of the ocean, but it didn't have a motor, so it was just like stuck on the floor, like a big cylinder. And it had a hole cut in the side here. And the only thing that was keeping the ocean out was the air pressure inside.
Whoa.
Kind of like taking a cup and flipping it over, putting it in the bathtub and trapping the air.
Oh, God.
And you just scuba dive on down, and then you swim into that thing. And then once you pop up in that hole, it's like you're in a swimming pool inside the habitat. And then you just step out into the habitat.
Whoa.
Have you ever seen the movie The Abyss?
Yes. It's like that.
It's like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
How accurate is that movie?
I think what's the Navy SEAL in there? He gets like
yeah, it's crazy from the
gets
bends.
like what do they call it? Deep dementia or something?
Yeah. Is that fake?
Yeah, that's fake.
Goddamn Hollywood. So this process of getting back to surface level, how long? You said it takes a day. What do you have to do?
So what you do is you close up that hole and you convert the habitat into a pressure chamber. And what you do is you very, very slowly bring the pressure back to sea level. So you decrease the pressure and you slowly, as if you're slowly going up in the water column. And then as you do it gradually, the nitrogen slowly comes out of your blood and you can feel it. It kind of tingles.
Oh, wow.
Over the course of a day, you try to lie still in your bunk and just like read a book or something, but you feel like this tingling. And then after about a day of that, they get you all the way back to sea level slowly so that the nitrogen, you know what it is? It's like if you take a can of soda and you shake it up, if you open the top quickly,
right?
But if you open the top really slowly and you let it slowly come out, you don't get all the bubbles.
One wrong move, and your blood could boil like soda.
Right.
It's that same effect.
Ah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Oh. What's freakier, being at the bottom of the ocean or being up in space?
Up in space is more surreal. Yeah, because the floating, the earth out the window, the views are better. But being down there was pretty wild, too. I remember once we were doing this experiment where I had my crewmate and I had an ultrasound, and we're doing this telemedicine experiment. So there were these docs in Houston looking at the screen, but there's a delay. And I was supposed to find her kidney. and I'm like searching around for a kidney, and then I look up and I look out the window and I see a 6-foot hammerhead shark right out the window, and we have a guy in the water, and I dropped a giant F-bomb. I was like, "Fuck!" and all the docs in Houston are freaking out. They're thinking like in a moment they're going to see her liver explode on the screen or something, and they're like, "What's that? How's the patient? How's the patient?" I'm like, "Patient's fine." Got a 6-foot hammerhead out the window.
Yeah, that's got to be really weird, right? You're in that thing in their world for how long? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So is that the weirdest animal that you saw? Is the hammerhead?
The scariest thing I saw was one night I was taking a dump. This is a true story. The way you do this, okay, number one, you just pee in the pool, okay? But if you have to go number 2, you go into the pool because you don't want a floater in your pool, right? That's
Of course.
like Caddyshack. You don't want that.
Right.
So what you do is you go. You don't take a tank. You just take your mask and your fins. And you go down
Naked?
You can. We had a mixed gender crew, so I wore some trunks, but and then you just go down, and you have to swim. I don't know. It's like maybe 10, 15 feet. It's not that far. And there's what we call a gazebo, which is just a little dome that has air inside. Now you're out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, like with no tank, and you're 60 feet down. It's night. You can't see a thing. You're alone in the ocean, but you can see this little gazebo. You swim to that. You pop in, and then you got air. Just some valves. You let in some fresh air, and then you hold on, and you take off your trunks, and you just let it rip. But the problem is the fish get accustomed to this.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So they go there knowing that you're going to poop.
As soon as you drop in the water at night, it's like the dinner bell going off. And there's like school. Yeah, because this is feeding time.
Whoa. And so you feel them like pecking at the back door?
The worst are the angelfish because that shape, they can get like right up in there.
Oh,
it's like not cool.
Boy.
So you take your fin off and you're like whacking them.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So that's all bad enough, but as you're doing that, and you're in the pitch black Atlantic Ocean, 60 feet down, no scuba tank.
At night,
with the sound of the ocean like lapping against the dome, and you're looking down, and there's endless black, just a black void, and you're thinking about every single scary ocean movie like Jaws.
Every nightmare from the deep suddenly feels real.
The Meg, whatever, The Abyss, all those scary movies, right? And you think about all these things that could be down there. You can't help but going through your head, so it's kind of freaky. And then you finish, and you put your mask back on. And I took a big breath, and I went down, and I opened my eyes in my mask in the darkness with my flashlight, and I saw, like right in front of me, this huge eyeball, like about the size, I don't know, of a saucer, like this big, staring, unblinking right at me, and I freaked out. I just tore off for the pool, for the moon pool and the habitat. I jumped in there. I surfaced. I'm screaming, and my crew come running, thinking I've been bit by a shark or something. And I'm like, giant fish. And
what was it?
It was a Goliath grouper.
Oh, I've seen those things before. They're enormous.
Size of a cow. It's like
hundreds and hundreds of pounds, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Scared the living hell out of me.
Yeah, those things could literally eat a person.
Yeah. It was big enough, that's for sure. And so just the sight of it scared the heck out of me.
So where were you? Were in the Atlantic?
Yeah.
How far away were you from like Florida? Like where were you at?
We were just off the coast of Key Largo.
Okay, because that's what I was saying. Like they live down there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an enormous fish, man.
Huge.
I've seen videos of people catching them off of boats, and it seems surreal. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's one.
It's like a giant largemouth bass.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's like. Like if you go bass fishing, they're so similar to bass, like in the way they look.
Yeah. Now imagine
Jesus Christ, look at that thing.
Yeah. Imagine being eye to eye with that thing in the middle of the dark Atlantic with no scuba tank.
They're delicious too, I bet. Like, I don't know if they taste as good as regular grouper.
I wasn't gonna. So you get a different. Yeah, I wasn't gonna find out.
Look at the mouth on that thing. Good Lord.
I'll tell you another quick story about down there. So I went out for a night dive once, and I spent the beautiful thing about saturation diving like this is you can do basically infinite time, bottom time. You're not limited to like 60 minutes. You can stay out there for 6 hours, whatever. So I was out doing this night dive, and I found this beautiful shrimp, and it was just spectacularly gorgeous. It was like translucent. You could see through it. You could see its organs move, like internal organs, like doing their thing. And I stared at it for at least like an hour.
Beauty and guilt, all in one underwater moment.
Just held my light on it and just sat there and stared at it. And it was really beautiful. And I come back inside the habitat, and I'm kind of hungry. And the best space food we got is shrimp cocktail. And I pulled that thing off the shelf, and I'm like, oh, that looks good. Then I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it, man.
You felt bad because you just saw the shrimp? Wow.
I ate it the next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
But for that day, though, you really felt bad.
I felt bad.
Wow. Grouper, you would have felt bad? Like a nice grouper sandwich? You
It
ever have a
scared
nice
me. So
grouper
I think
sandwich
I would have been okay with that after. It's because it was.
Yeah, I wonder if they've ever eaten people. Because it seems like they could, they swallow giant fish. It seems like if you're not a large person, they might be able to just suck you right in there.
See, now, if this happens to me again, I'm going to be even more freaked out.
I feel like I've read that grouper have bitten people before.
Yeah.
Like probably trying them out. Like if they get hungry, if you're that big, you probably have to eat so much.
Yeah, this nonstop buffet for those guys. And yeah.
So when you're down there and you're doing all the swimming, you're using a rebreather?
No,
you're using tanks, regular scuba tanks? And what is the capacity of these tanks? Like how long can you stay down swimming around for?
We have two, and we can isolate them in case one of them springs a leak. But you don't have that much more time than a standard scuba tank. But we have is refill stations all around the floor with high pressure hoses. So we have these quick disconnects on our system that you can plug in and fill it right back up, and then you're good to go for another couple hours.
So when you swim to go take a poo, you have to do that? You have to wear the tank, or do you just hold your breath?
Just hold your breath. You're not going that far.
How far are you going?
Like 15 feet or so.
In total pitch black.
Yeah. There is a light on the gazebo, but that's all.
Episode number 1571. Emily Harrington opens up about her terrifying 50-foot fall, head injury, and the emotional battle to climb again after nearly losing everything.
When you have these moments where things don't go well, where you have a fall, or when you had your concussion and you got really banged up, overcoming those things, what is that like? Because I would imagine that it's such a scary thing to do. Well, maybe for me, I don't know as much for you, but I'm watching pictures of you, my hands sweat. Not like legitimately. Like Alex Honnold freaks me out every time I see videos of him because he's got nothing saving him.
Yeah.
My hands start sweating. I can't handle it.
No, I think all our hands sweat when we watch him, but yeah, so for me I think, for example, when I hit my head this time, the time I got the scar, I was on my day had gone so perfectly. Like I was climbing super well, everything was great. There it is.
Ouchie.
Yeah, that was the rock bottom moment. So I was climbing and I was in the sun. I slipped off. I felt like I was just going to have a really normal fall, super safe, like nothing bad was going to happen. And then I hit my head and I instantly just felt the blood pouring down my face, and it was super dramatic and it was super scary. And I lowered down, and Adrian sort of assessed me for concussion symptoms and tried to, figure out if there was anything super serious. And turns out that there wasn't really. And so it came time to decide should I keep going or should I give up? Like what's the best course of action now? And honestly, in my head, I was like, part of me was like, I don't want to keep climbing. Like I'm emotionally kind of destroyed and drained, and I don't think I can do this.
Tell me how it happened. Like what was the sequence of events?
I was climbing this pitch, and it's a pitch that I've never fallen on before. And the next pitch is the hard one, which is where I think I went wrong, because I was sort of thinking ahead. Like I wasn't focusing on what was happening in front of me. I was thinking about the the next pitch. And I was like, I need to get this one out of the way so that I can focus on the hard one. And therefore, I was climbing the sun when it's too hot, like the friction's not as good, it's more slippery, all those things. And I was rushing it. I didn't rest enough.
The friction is not as good when it's hot?
Even the sun becomes your enemy on the wall.
Yeah.
Why
you
is
want it
that?
to be cold because your skin sweats.
Oh, okay. It's
And
just
like the rubber on your shoes isn't as sticky. Like it's just the heat radiates off the rock. It just gets more slippery. Like imagine like a granite face just like baking in the sun. Like everything's more slippery and you're all sweaty. And so it's just not ideal. And I could have waited, but I didn't. So I was climbing and I was like kind of traversing. And so I was trying to do this move and I rushed it and I slipped and I fell. But I had like a piece of gear down into my right. And I just didn't anticipate like the physics of how I was going to fall. And I kind of fell sideways and I couldn't get my feet out in front of me in time. And we watched the footage later. It was just like, it was kind of like my head just like bounces off the wall like a basketball. And I must have just hit like a crystal or something with my forehead, like something sticking out of the rock. And there was just blood everywhere, like head wounds. They just, they bleed. Bleed a lot. Yeah. And so there was a lot of blood and I lowered down and I was super bummed. It was just like my confidence was sort of shattered. Like I just kept thinking back to last year. I was like, oh no, my attempt's over. Everything was going so well. Like this sucks. And I was letting myself go to that place of doubt and that place of like, it's over. It's
and
done.
Last year when you hit your head much harder?
Last year I fell on the first pitch of the route.
50 feet of free fall before the mountain caught her.
So close to the ground. But I fell like 50 feet and I hit a ledge and the rope like didn't catch me. I hit the ledge because I was, again, rushing and not placing enough protection. And
so you fell 50 feet without being caught?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I hit a ledge.
God.
Yeah. It was pretty gnarly.
How did you hit it?
I don't remember because I got
KO'd?
knocked out. Yeah. But I had this crazy rope burn on my neck and
oh my God.
Yeah, it was pretty. I had to get rescued, like full on ambulance to the hospital, like spinal injury worries, all that. It was pretty serious. It was definitely the worst accident I've ever had. And I walked out of the hospital that day, which is incredible. Like that just doesn't happen very often. There's me.
Dressed up like a burrito. And so this is when they were carrying you to the hospital?
Yeah, that's a rope burn.
Rope burn. Oh my God.
I also don't know how that happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And there's no footage of this, right? You didn't review footage of it?
There's well, it was dark when I started climbing. So there actually is footage of Alex Honnold was belaying me. There's footage of him belaying me.
What does belay mean?
Belaying is the person who holds your rope at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So
he was like essentially holding my rope. But it's a little bit nuanced because the way we were climbing, we were doing something called simul climbing. We were essentially, I was tied onto the top of the rope, he was tied onto the bottom of the rope, and we were climbing together up the wall simultaneously in order to save time. And it is a more dangerous form of climbing than just like one person climbing while the other person belays them, and then I would stop and bring him up, and then we'd go on from there. Like instead, we were climbing together.
Whoa. That makes me nervous just thinking about it.
Yeah,
if someone falls, you're kind of connected to them.
2 climbers, 1 mistake means both fall.
Yeah, we were always connected to somebody when you fall. But if he had fallen, it's kind of a complicated form of climbing that not many people do. It's definitely like an advanced strategy.
And so was someone filming?
Yeah, I have a filmer who's making like a movie about me. And he was filming because he was there filming that attempt, and he was filming Alex as Alex was like sitting on the ground getting ready.
And have you reviewed the footage?
Yeah.
What is it like watching yourself?
It's pretty like it's hard. It was hard. I didn't watch it for the first few months. I was like, I don't really want to.
How long does it take to fall 50 feet? Imagine that's a few seconds.
I don't know. What's the?
How fast do you fall?
Isn't it like 9.8 meters per second?
Yeah. Oof, so it's a couple seconds at least.
Yeah. At least it felt that way.
Oh, God.
So yeah. So that was something like a mental hurdle to get over for this year. And then this year something similar happens, only I was way higher on the wall, but I was really close to succeeding this time. And I had this part of me was like, well, I just want to give up. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be done. Like, I'm tired of this project. I'm over it.
When you got over the first injury, the really bad one from last year, what was the process of recovery? Like, how long did it take before you felt comfortable enough to climb again?
I was super lucky. I think I definitely got away with one. It was one of those things where I got away with one. Like, I walked out of the hospital. I was back climbing. I think I took a month off, but I went to Ecuador and climbed a volcano with my dad and like went skiing and just did a bunch of things. Like,
how long afterwards?
Fine. We went to Ecuador like 4 days later.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of crazy father do you have?
He's awesome. My dad loves all sports and activities, and he's like super passionate about everything. And this was his dream, was to like go climb this volcano in Ecuador, and we'd been planning it for months. And I actually felt that was one of the reasons I felt so bad that I got hurt. I was like, oh no, I'm supposed to go on this trip with my dad, and like we had this whole plan. He's been training. He trained like for months. He's 65 years old. Like, it was one of those things. So we went.
A daughter's recovery becomes her father's dream come true.
And we climbed the mountain, and like thankfully I was able to do that with him. It was really cool.
What kind of like physical damage did you suffer in terms of like how long did it take for you to recover?
I honestly, I would say I felt pretty normal within a month.
Real? So,
yeah, a little back pain.
But concussion, right?
Concussion. The concussion symptoms were a little gnarly for a little while.
But 4 days later, you're climbing a goddamn volcano.
Yeah, well, we were headed there. Yeah.
How long after that before you were actually climbing?
I maybe like 3 weeks. Yeah.
So while you were suffering from some, at least, concussion symptoms, you were climbing.
Yeah, not recommended. We went to the doctor, and she was like, you can't go to Ecuador. You shouldn't do that. And I was like,
yeah, that's nice. See ya. When you watch the footage of the fall and you see yourself hit the wall and the impact and what happened to you, does that, it obviously didn't deter you from doing anything, but does it change the way you approach climbing?
Every scar becomes a lesson, carved in stone.
Yes and no. I think the reason that it was a little bit easier for me to overcome that hurdle was because it was really obvious what had gone wrong. And it was really obvious that what had gone wrong was within my control. Like, I simply had not placed enough protection for the difficulty of the route. It was an easy climbing for me, but it was really dark, it was cold, it was slippery, and I was just going too fast and not placing enough gear.
Episode number 1119. Joey Diaz relives his terrifying first encounter with The Exorcist. A hilarious yet haunting story only he could tell.
Build imagination. That's why when you read Silence of the Lambs and you watch the movie, you got to get everybody in that room and give them a big hug because they kept it honest. They kept it real. Mm-hmm. When you read William Blakely's The Exorcist, and then The Exorcist has been on for the last 2 weeks on AMC, and I've been watching bits and pieces of it, and I can't applaud it more.
You know who's fucking great in that movie? The priest.
That's Jackie Gleason's son-in-law.
Is it really?
Yes.
Wow.
Who's Jason whatever's father.
Jason whatever? Who's that?
Who he was in Sleepers with Brad Pitt, De Niro. He played the newspaper reporter. That's his fucking father. But Damian Karras plays the priest. That's Jackie Gleason's son-in-law. He married Jackie Gleason's daughter. And it's funny because last week I was in my office typing, and my wife called, and she goes, I'm going to be home in 20 minutes with the baby. So I don't know what you're doing. I go, all right. So I went out to the living room, and I turned the TV on just to be out there because I know she's going to want to watch cartoons or whatever. And I saw The Exorcist was on. I turned it on. And, dog, it came on when the priest comes to the door. which if I ever bump into that director, I will take his dick out and suck it. Because that's what real directing is. He scared you without showing you anything.
Yeah.
Remember, when the priest comes to the door, all you see is an image from the priest, and you don't see what his face looked like, and it scares you. But when he walks in, he takes this motherfucker, and the guy says to him, "Can I get you something? How was your trip? Can I get you something?" And he goes, "Do you want some coffee?" And he goes, "No, let's do this." And this guy's a psychiatrist. You have to watch it again. This guy's a psychiatrist. Not only is he a priest, and he starts dropping psycho, and the priest looks at him and goes, "Knock it off. The devil is cunning. He'll attack you psychological like nobody else. Do not listen to him." And he just breaks it down. And then the guy says to him, "Do you want to know the 3 levels of manifestation?"
Science meets faith, and only one answer remains.
And he looks at him and he goes, "No, there's only one. Satan is Satan." Dog, it's just right there. You're like, so my daughter walks in.
While it's on?
The 5-year-old walks in and she sits on my lap and she's a Bible beater. I don't know if you know this, that Mercy's a Bible beater. She loves anything with God, and, you know, I got a little fucking thing she gave me with Jesus, a fish. Yeah, Mercy, my daughter's a Bible beater. Even though she goes to fucking public school, she'll come home and tell me they didn't talk about God today. So she's watching this whole manifestation of these 2 priests talking about God is powerful, God's going to kill Satan, da-da-da-da-da-da. And all of a sudden, they walk into the room, and she's sitting up, and she's like, and my daughter caught, it took her like 30 seconds to just look at me, and she just ran out of the room. Like, she doesn't know who Satan is, nothing. She just ran out of the room. This is one of the scariest movies, one of the finest movies. She elevates herself, comes down. What about when so they do the first thing, they walk out. And what about when they walk back in, and he's a doctor, so he's checking her heart. And she turns into the mother in the hospital and starts saying, "Dear me, why you do this to me?" And the priest told him, don't listen to him, that the devil's cunning. You know, and all of a sudden, what about when he comes in, he goes, "Father, how about sparing 5 cents for an old altar boy?" Because the devil starts, I mean, bro, you have to watch it. And while all this is going on, you have to remember that there's a murder going on. Because the first night when she came down, before the devil came in, some guy was talking shit, a Nazi was talking shit, a Jewish guy was talking shit about a Nazi or something. And she comes down and pees and says, "You're going to die, motherfucker."
She said you're going to die up there to an astronaut, wasn't it? Wasn't he an astronaut?
He was something downstairs.
Didn't she say something like that? You're going to die up there?
No, he was downstairs. They were in the living room and they were singing like a...
But didn't she was talking to a guy who was an astronaut, and she
I'm
said,
not sure.
You're
I
gonna
thought
die
she just
up there.
said, "You're going to die." And then she peed the carpet.
Yeah.
And then...
It was a dinner party.
And then a couple nights later, they found the guy on the bottom of the stairs, but it couldn't have been a girl because they twisted his neck all the way around.
Right, yeah.
So it had to be a man. And that's why you have to watch that movie when the cop comes to talk to the mother, who's a famous actress.
Last time I watched it was like 5 or 6 years ago.
It's first one. It's a deep, dark
Great movie. That girl got fucked up doing that movie, you know.
Horror on screen and behind the camera.
Bro, listen, how can they make a 12-year-old girl stick a cross in her pussy?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the truth now. She stuck a cross in her pussy, took it out, grabbed her mother by the ears, put her and said, "Suck it, eat me, lick me."
Yeah.
All right, and then picked her up and smacks her and throws her across the fucking room.
She says, "Your mother sucks cocks in hell."
That's what she told the one priest. I saw that in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Shame on them. Like, if I could sue the Union City Cinema today, I would sue them. Because they didn't check my ID. They didn't give a fuck. They took my $2 and they threw me to the fucking wolves. But I also saw...
What is her name again?
Linda Blair.
Linda Blair.
She showed up 20 years later. She started hanging out with Rick James.
Oh, man.
She showed up 20 years later with Rick James. I wonder what Linda Blair is doing today. But I hope they paid her a lot of money because she never really recovered from that.
No.
She never really worked after that. It's tough to get work after you put a cross in your pussy. I mean, that's Ginger Lynn. It's tough to get a commercial for fucking X.
Well, it's also people never forget you were that person. Like, it's very difficult for people to have a changed perception
Dog,
of
when
you.
she walks down the stairs.
Yeah. Backwards.
What about when her head spins around in front of the priest? I mean, it's just too out there for a movie. They can never. They think of remaking that every once in a while, and they look at each other. Look at it.
Jesus Christ. That was a creepy fucking movie. And you got to realize that back then, there was nothing like this before this movie. This movie was so extreme. Like, there had been horror movies before, but it was like Frankenstein or Dracula. They were kind of scary, but they weren't bloody. There was nothing like this movie. This movie was so over the top. And a lot of people at the time were like, the movie represented something. It represented a changing of boundaries. That people, these young kids, these people today, like, what the fuck are they doing? What kind of movies are they making?
Catholics
like, what
were
is
pissed.
this?
I remember being in Catholic school
when even the church warned against watching.
And they were just pissed. They were telling us not to go see it. We weren't allowed to go see it. I was right there when the movie got released, and I had to see it. And
of course. As soon as they tell you can't see it, you're going to see it.
Blew my fucking. That's where I saw Rocky, where everybody was on their feet yelling for Rocky. This is when America was different. Everybody was yelling Rocky, and I also saw The Longest Yard there, the original. And this was a movie theater that was basically Irish, Italian, and Cuban, but they talked, they yelled at the screen, they threw things at the screen, and when the fucking Longest Yard, when Burt Reynolds was coming back, the whole place was on their feet. This is a great movie theater. And they let you in. They played the last movie at 11:30. I saw, you know how many times I saw Enter the Dragon in there? The late movie. My mother would let me walk up there because it was on 48th Street, and my mother's bar was on 29th Street, and she'd go ahead. I saw everything there. Fist of Fury, The Outlaw Josie Wales, all those fucking movies I saw there. Anything they played, I'd just go there as a Spanish kid and watch it and learn the language and loved it.